Hello lovelies, and welcome back to another video. And if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about a palette that comes from Menagerie Cosmetics, and it is the Pastel Pup palette. This is such a cute, pretty, just springtime palette that's perfect with a whole bunch of different pastel shades. It is such a cute package. This is the outer carton, and then on the inner carton it has a little seal on it. It's just so cute and so much fun, and it has just such a beautiful bright color story on the inside. So many just bright pastel shades. We've got a shimmer in here, a matte white and a matte black, so I'm really excited about this color story and to dive into creating this look today. This is actually my second palette that I've used from Menagerie Cosmetics. The first one that I used was the Flight Club palette. It is based all on bats, and I had so much fun using that palette. If you are interested, I will link the video below that I took some swatches, created a look, and shared some of my thoughts about that palette, so definitely go check that one out. And then these both were Christmas presents from my husband Dylan, and I'm so excited to get to start going through them and using them, especially as we're getting more into spring and it's a perfect time to be using an all pastel palette. And then I also do have the Whale Song palette that was another Christmas gift from my husband, so I will be using that one probably a little closer to the summertime, and I'm really looking forward to just getting to try that out. I've been blown away by Menagerie Cosmetics so far. Their quality is great. Their packaging is so cute. I love that they just base everything off of nature and animals. It's just so much fun and such a sweet brand, and it just speaks so much to my heart. So I'm really excited to show you how we created this look today and to dive into the Pastel Pup palette. So come along with me and let's make up the rules. I really love the package on this palette. I think it is so cute. We've got the little seal on the front. It is just so beautiful, and definitely you can see those pastel shades all over the cover. I absolutely love this little detail, this seal of approval on the bottom. I just think that is so cute and just such a sweet little touch to this palette. There's even a cute little kind of animated seal on the back. I just think it's just so fun and so cute. And there is a mirror on the inside, and then this is our color story. It is so pretty. I love all of the pastels in here. I don't really have any other just completely pastel palettes in my collection, so I'm so excited to add this to my collection. We've got some beautiful pastel shades, and there's one shimmer in here that's a really pretty shade, and then there is a matte white and a matte black. So I love that there's a little bit of uniqueness to this pastel palette. It's not all pastels, that you've got a light shade and a dark shade to be able to really create a full look with just this one palette. You can add some shimmer, and it's really going to just create just a complete look. It's going to bring everything together. So I think it's very creative, very thoughtful, and definitely has a lot of thought put into how it was designed. So I'm really excited to take some swatches and check out more about this color story. I was so pleasantly surprised by the swatches of this palette. With it being a mostly pastel palette, I wasn't sure how pigmented all of the shades were going to be, and I even started with the matte white, and even from there, everything in here had so much pigment, so much richness to it. It was absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love how these came out in the swatches. I feel like there is a really nice range of shades in here. You've got kind of your warmer tones with the pinks and orange and yellow, and then you've got your cooler tones with more of the greens and blues and purples, so you can really make a very wide range of looks. I feel like a lot of these shades just go together very nicely. I think they would create a very cohesive look together. And then I absolutely love this bottom row here with the matte white and the matte black, and then this beautiful shimmer. I think all of these are such a nice touch in this mostly pastel palette. They really create just a beautiful cohesion of looks, so that you can really add some lightness or some depth to a look that you're creating. And I know for me personally, I don't always love to create just an all matte look, so I love that they did include a shimmer in here. The shimmer is so beautiful, and it just has such a beautiful kind of light silver type sparkle to it, and I think it would be perfect as an inner corner highlight, maybe even a topper shade, or probably even just on its own, just if you wanted to kind of put the pastels or even some of the blacks in the crease, and then put this all over the lid, I think would be really pretty. So there's just a lot of versatility in such a small 12 pan palette, and for it to be mostly pastels, I just think there's a lot that you can do with this, and it really seems like the quality of these eyeshadows is really good. When I swatched them, they just went on like butter. They were very smooth, very easy to apply, very easy to build up the pigment from them, and they all are just very pigmented shades. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun to play with, and I'm really excited to go ahead and jump into our look for today. I think for this look, I would like to go in with some of these warmer tone shades and go across the lid and just really apply the shades in a blend all the way across on both my crease and my lid. And then I'm going to put some of this shimmer as a topper shade just on the lid and just really kind of blend in the shimmer shade with the other shades in here and really just kind of see how they blend together. So starting out, I'm going to go with an Ace Beauté brush from their Paletteopoly collection. This is brush P2. And I'm going to start out with this beautiful yellow shade. This one is called Sunbathe. It is so pretty. I'm really excited to use this shade. So I'm just going to pick up some of this on my brush, and then I'm going to apply this just on this inner part of my lid and my crease. So I'm just going in with just a light hand right here and just going to apply all the way up, sort of in a straight line up and down through my crease and my lid, and just start to build up that pigment on maybe this inner sort of third of my lid, and just start to get some color. That is really pretty. I absolutely love a nice matte yellow. It is so beautiful and bright and vibrant. It just adds such a lightness to any look. I think this one is just such a pretty shade. I love the shades in here. They are just so bright, and they, like I said, have just so much pigment to them. I wasn't sure how pigmented they would be, so I'm really excited that they are very, very bright and very vibrant shades. That is so pretty. I absolutely love that yellow. I'm going to pop some on the other side, and then we're going to continue to use some of these warmer shades and just blend out across the lid. The next shade in the palette that we're going to go in with is going to be this light orange shade. This one is called Fishy. It is so cute. I love the shade names in here. They are so perfect and go with our seal theme so beautifully. So just using that same brush and picking up a little bit more pigment, I'm going to just put this right beside that yellow that we already applied and just blending it in with the yellow and really starting to build up a little bit more of an ombre effect across the lid and across the crease, and just start to get a little bit more color here. It's such a pretty shade. It's sort of just a light orange kind of peach shade. I think it looks really nice next to that yellow, and it's going to just blend in beautifully with it. It is so pretty, just continuing across the eye and just continuing to blend those shades together so that we're just getting a nice rainbow effect. It is really pretty, and I'm really enjoying how these shades are blending together. The next shade we're going to jump into is called Snack. It's this one up here on the corner. This one is sort of transitioning from orange into pink, so I think it's going to be really nice because we're going to go into that pink shade after this one. So again, just picking some up on my brush and just using soft back and forth motion, just blending this into that fishy shade and just continuing to build up the pigment. These are definitely very bright and very pretty on the lid. This is such a pretty shade. It's definitely got just a little bit of a light pinkness to it. I think it just looks really nice with that other shade and just starting to get a little bit more pink in our orange shade here. It is so pretty. I love how these are looking together. And the last shade that we're going to use as we're going across is going to be this beautiful pink shade. This one is called Cuddle. And we're just going to put this more in the outer half or the outer corner of the lid using that same brush and just going in and just finishing out this blend. It is such a pretty shade. I love just kind of that ombre from the yellow to the pink. It almost just kind of looks like a beautiful sunrise with all of these pastel shades. The pink is really pretty, and it definitely blends in very well with that Snack shade. Just making a nice transition from the orange into the pink. I absolutely love just the blend of all of these light shades, and now I want to go in with that one shimmer shade and put it as a topper over the lid. So I went ahead and went in with my NYX glitter primer and just applied that on top of the lid over those other matte shades that we used. And now we're going to go in with the shimmer Snowball. It is so pretty. It's just such a light iridescent shade, and I think it's going to look really nice over top these other pastels. So I'm just going to use my finger, and I'm just going to pick some of this up, and then I'm just going to pat it over the lid on top of my NYX glitter primer. It is such a light, pretty iridescent shade. I think it just is so beautiful, and I definitely want to be a little bit light-handed with it because I do want to be able to see those mattes through the shimmer. So I'm just going to kind of pat it in. I definitely want it to cover the lid. I want it to have that nice moment to shine and just that reflection, but I do want to be able to see a little bit of those matte shades underneath. So I'm going to keep it a little on the thinner side and just tapping it on. It is such a bright iridescent shimmer. I think it's really pretty. It definitely has a nice glow to it, and I think it looks really nice over top those mattes. Now as we're starting to move down into the lower lash line, I do want to go a little bit more into some of those cooler tone shades. So I definitely want to play more with these greens and blues and this purple shade. So I think I'm just going to start to just kind of blend them all the way across the lower lash line and try to use as many of the shades as we can. I think I may be even able to use all of the shades in the palette. I always love getting to do that, especially when it's my first time using a palette and I really want to try all the shades out. So I think I'm going to start with this shade down here. It's a slightly minty shade. It's called Ice Worm, and I'm going to apply this one all the way across the lower lash line. And I'm using another Ace Beauté Paletteopoly brush. This one is P4, and just picking up a little bit of that product on my brush, and then I'm just going to start to line all the way underneath my waterline and just start to build up a little bit of pigment. This is such a pretty shade. It was really pretty when I swatched it, and it definitely has sort of a little bit of blue and a little bit of green, and I think it's going to be a nice transition as we start to use some of the blues and greens across the lower lash line and really start to build up some pigment. That is such a pretty shade. I love all of these pastels and how pigmented they are. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some of that on the other side, and then we'll continue to blend out some of these blues and greens and purples. The next shade that I want to use is going to be this green shade. It's called Flipper. It's a really pretty green shade, and I'm going to use that same brush and just pick up some of this one. And I want to apply the green a little bit more towards the inner corner. So I'm just going to kind of go over top that Ice Worm shade and just start to blend out a little bit of green about halfway across the lower lash line. And just using soft motion and just gently blending that in and really starting to build up more pigment there. Next, I'm going to start building up some blues. I'm going to go into this beautiful blue shade Aquatic and just start to put this over top that Ice Worm shade a little bit closer to the outer corner. So where that green Flipper shade stopped, I'm going to start to meet it there and just continue to blend out. And I'm only putting this on maybe this inner third, the second third of my lower lash line, so that I can continue to deepen out more as we get to the outer corner. So just blending it in and just using soft motions. It's so pretty, and it's creating such a beautiful blend with that green. Next, I'd like to continue to build up the blues. So I'm going to go into this deepest blue shade. This one is called Ice Cap, and I'm just going to apply this more towards the outer third of my lower lash line and just blending it into that Aquatic shade and just continuing to deepen up the outer corner of the lid. It is so pretty. I love the ombre effect across the lid and then also across the lower lash line. I think it's really pretty and creates a lot of depth on this look. That is so lovely. I absolutely love how those are playing together. And for the last shade here, I do want to go in with a little bit of this purple shade. This one is called Belly Slide, and just going to put this over that Ice Cap shade on the outer corner and just add just a little bit of purple here. I don't want to completely cover the blue, so I'm just really kind of putting almost like a dot just here on the very outer corner, just to build up just a little bit of that purple pigment. I just think it's so pretty and wanted to include it a little bit in this look. I'm going to go back in with that P2 brush, and I'm going to go into this matte white. It's called Saddleback, and I'm going to apply a little bit of this on the inner corner, just kind of fluff it out with this blending brush. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit. I definitely saw during the swatches that this matte white was very pigmented, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit and continue to build up the pigment. But I'm just going to apply this just right here on the inner corner and just kind of blend it into those shades on the lid and on the lower lash line. And I think you can definitely see, even with just a little bit of product, it's very light, it's very bright, and it looks really pretty with this look. So just really building up just a nice little pop of white here on the inner corner, just to give it a little bit more of a glow. And again, I'm just picking up a little bit more pigment at a time and just continuing to build it up. And I'm just tapping it in. This is a big blending brush, so I'm just going to use just soft tapping motions just to apply the pigment and continue to build up some color. That is so pretty, and it definitely makes a big difference. It adds just a little bit of a pop and a little bit of lightness to this look. I absolutely love this look. I think it's so pretty, so bright, and so vibrant. I've used all of the shades in the palette except for this black, this whisker shade, and I really would like to use all the shades in this palette. So I think I'm going to go in with an angled brush from Ulta Beauty Collection, and I'm going to pick up some of this and start to apply it as a liner and just see how that looks, just to add a little bit of more depth to this look. So I'm going in with that brush and just picking some up on the end of it, and I want to scrape a little bit off just to make sure that I have just a very nice thin line. And I'm just going to use this brush and just line across my lid and just start to build up some of this black pigment as close to my lashes as I can get, just to create just a nice little bit of a thick line here. And that is really pretty. You can definitely start to see it just a little bit, and just to get just a little bit more dimension to this look and create a little bit of depth along the lash line. I absolutely love that there is a matte black and a matte white in here. I just think that is so cool, and I absolutely love for any palette to have a matte black or a matte white, so I think having both is really cool. And I definitely am really happy with the performance of both of them. I think they're both very pigmented, especially this matte white. You can definitely see when we applied it on the inner corner, it has a lot of pigment to it, which is not true for every matte white, so it's always exciting when you have one that is very, very pigmented. I'm really liking how this is looking using the matte black as a liner. I think it's adding a little bit of darkness and a little bit of depth to the lashes. You can definitely see the difference on both eyes, but it's not too much depth. I was thinking about blending in the black with the other shades, but I really wanted this to be a very light look, and then I think using this as just a liner, I think just adds just that little hint of depth that I was looking for. I think I am going to use my angled brush and go in and try to create a little bit of a wing. I haven't really done this before with a shadow. I usually just use a felt tip brush to do my wings, but I'm just going to try this and just see how it looks. Just using the pointed edge of my brush and just sort of winging out the shadow on the edge. I think that looks really pretty. It's a little bit softer than using a felt tip liner. And I think a little bit of softness on the liner for this look is really nice, and I think it just adds just a little bit of a soft line. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side and just touch this up, clean everything up, and I'll be back in just a moment. I really like how this black matte looks as a liner. I think it looks really pretty on both sides. It gives it just a little bit of a softness and a smokiness to the liner instead of using an actual eyeliner pencil. I think it just kind of gives it a little bit more softness to go with these other pastel shades. So I'm really happy with how this looks. I'm going to step off camera for just a moment. I'm going to add some mascara and a little bit more liner in the waterline, and then I'll be back in just a moment for us to take a look at the final look. And here is the final look. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think it is so pretty. It is just such a light and pretty look. For my details, I went in on the top and tightline with an LA Colors Auto Eyeliner in black. And then for the lower waterline, I wanted to go in and really play on these greens and these blues. So I went in with two different eyeliners. These are both Color Punch Automatic Eyeliners from Ulta Beauty Collection. For this inner half, I went in with Majestic Mint. And then for the outer half, I went in with Blissful Blue. And then for my mascara, I went in with my Tarte Man-Eater Waterproof Mascara. And for the lips, I wanted to play a little bit more on the purple since I didn't have a whole lot of purple in the eye look. And I also wanted there to be a little bit of depth just because it is such a light look. So I went in with an Ulta Beauty Collection Automatic Lip Liner. This is in the shade Chocolate. And then I topped that off with some NYX Butter Gloss. And this is the shade Marshmallow. It's a really pretty purple shade. So I'm so happy with how this look turned out. I think it is really beautiful, and it definitely has just a nice light springiness to it. So I absolutely love getting to play with the pastel shades in this palette. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in. We'll take a closer look at the final look. I'll share some of my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up the video. So much fun getting to play with the Menagerie Cosmetics Pastel Pup palette today. It is such a beautiful pastel palette. I love the outer carton. I love how it is different than the palette itself. It's so cute. I love just the mixture of pastels that really reflect what the color story on the inside of the palette looks like. And then of course the palette itself is so cute with this little seal on the front. I love the seal of approval down here. I just think it's so cute and so creative. And then I love that there is just so much packed in to such a small, just 12 pan palette. There are 9 beautiful shades in here that are just beautiful. They're pastels. They blend together so nicely. Every single one of these just feels so intentional and feels like it really belongs in this palette. And then of course I absolutely love this row on the bottom with a matte white, a matte black, and even a shimmer, just so you can create a cohesive look. I just love that this is just such a small palette. It's easy to take with you, just to take on the go, and it really can create so many versatile looks, and you can create a full look using the shimmer and all of the mattes. I think there's just so many options that you can create with this. I really love how all of this mattes blended together. I think they created such a beautiful and just kind of ombre look. I loved using this shimmer shade as a topper, and of course I think it also would work really well as an inner corner highlight if you wanted to do all matte and then just have a little pop of shimmer in the inner corner. The matte white in here is so beautiful and so pigmented. We used that on the inner corner today, and I think it really helps the eyes just to pop. And I absolutely love a matte white. I think it is so perfect, especially for inner corners, and it really is so nice when it's just so pigmented. It just shows up and it really creates so much brightness. So I think the formula on this white matte was so good, and I really enjoyed getting to use that one today. I love this black in here. I think you could really blend it in with the other shades and really create a lot of depth. Of course, I like getting to use it as a liner today. I thought that was a cool and unique way to get to use this shade, and really it created just a lot of lightness in the look without creating too much darkness with the black. But of course, if you want a darker look and you really want to ground your pastels, I think that's a great option to have in this palette. Overall, I was so happy with the formula, with the quality, the blendability, the buildability of all of these shades. This was just such a fun palette to use, and I'm so excited to continue to get to use the Pastel Pup palette. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the Menagerie Cosmetics Pastel Pup palette. I know I really enjoyed creating this look and taking some swatches. This is such a beautiful palette, and I really enjoyed creating a look with it. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you picked up this palette and your thoughts about this look that we created? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you would like to see more makeup content, then please consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, let's be kind to each other, beautiful to ourselves, and never afraid to make up the rules.